Quiet on the set.
Camera speed.
Sound production.
Roll sound.
Rolling.
Sound production. Take 2.
Welcome to the I Remember Liking That Movie podcast. Remember those childhood movies you loved? Now, we're going to watch them again and find out if they're still as amazing as you remember. Or, your father was right. You were an idiot, and everything you watched was stupid. So buckle up, movie aficionados. Over the top gore? Check. Over embellished action? Check. Gratuitous nudity? Double check. Storylines so absurd you could drive a semi-truck through those plot holes. Oh yeah, some of those movies didn't even know what a movie plot was. And that's the way we liked it. Now, here's your hosts, Anna Santos and Jimmy Coates.
And I thought I was going to be alone, but I'm not.
I made it. I had something very important to do, okay? I had to make a coffee.
That's fair enough.
Also, I was working late and I looked up and I was like, oh shit, I gotta get ready. I gotta set up. Cartoons are very distracting.
Cartoons? Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah. I work in animation, so
That's right.
my job. Literally, it's my job to make sure the cartoons get made. I'm okay with that.
Which ones are you working on now?
Millie Magnificent is what I'm working on right now.
Millie Magnificent.
It's based on The Most Magnificent Thing. It's a series of books by Ashley Spires. It is fucking adorable. And it's going to be premiering in a few months, actually. Not sure if it's towards the end of February or in March. So if you have a preschooler or just a kindergartner, let them know about Millie Magnificent because it's adorable. And Wallace is my favorite character.
Who?
It's the dog, Wallace.
Oh.
His name is Wallace and he's a pug and he's so cute. We have a very talented crew. They make things that look amazing and I'm like, I could never. But yeah, so cartoons.
Yay.
Woo!
Did you watch any? I know not our Out Cold movie. Did you watch any other movies this week? Anything newer?
Oh,
caught
so
up
remember,
on?
we talked about Terror Train last week, and I said I had watched Terror Train 2, but I
Right,
didn't watch
yes.
the remake of Terror Train. So then I was like, I'm going to do a double feature, and I'm going to watch the new Terror Train, and then I'm going to watch
The sequel.
again.
Yeah.
So I did. And why is Terror Train actually good?
Like the first one?
Like the remake. Yeah, Terror Train, the remake.
It wouldn't be hard to
Well,
make
yeah,
it
that's
better
true.
than the original.
That's true. But I was watching it and I was like, oh, okay. Oh, I like this. Oh, this is good. I'm more invested in these people.
Is it a lot like the original?
It is
Or is it a
very,
little different?
very, the storyline is very, very similar.
Okay, I might give that a shot. But
There are a few little changes that actually make it better. You care more about the protagonist and you're kind of on her side more. So
Yeah.
you actually care when she's running from people. Also there are certain like small changes that you're like, this makes so much more sense. This is not out of left field. Oh, I like this. And it's gorier. Like you actually see the murders. There's actual
yeah,
like the blood actually looks like blood. So
that
I
was
was like,
one of our
oh.
huge complaints. Yeah,
No, we never saw any murders. It just kind of
just happened.
Yeah, but this one you actually see the murders and they're like good. So I was like, oh, this is good. And then I watched the sequel again and I was like, yeah, this is still good too.
Nice.
Look at
And they're
you,
on Tubi, right?
They're on
Yeah.
Tubi, but they're also on Crave. So
okay.
Crave has the original Terror Train and then it has the remake and the sequel.
Okay.
If anybody wants to. And also Tim Rosen, who I find very attractive, plays the magician in Terror Train.
Brought back the magician. He's
They
not
brought
in
back
it
the
like
magi-
for 40 minutes. Like
No, you don't
Okay.
see that much magic from him. There's a little bit, but not as much as you saw of David Copperfield.
David
so
Copperfield. Yeah, next time I'll email you to because I watched a movie that I've been dying to see
Mm-hmm.
called
You,
Sisu. I don't
I
even know if
have been wanting to see this too.
it is it is about a Finnish soldier who's retired. He retires during World War II and he just becomes a gold digger, gold miner. He was around, if you know your history, Finland and Russia do not like each other at all.
No, they do
Never
not.
have. And during the Winter War before World War II, Finland was at war with Russia, and Russia killed his wife and his kids, and he became this crazy guy that the army couldn't control, and they just let him go out into the woods and kill Russians. So fast forward, he's now he finds a bunch of gold, but it's like 500 miles to the next bank, and a
Mm-hmm.
bunch of Germans are in the way. And they have it's a lot like the Netflix movie Blood and Gold, which has a bit more story to it, but
Yeah.
these are just grindhouse, crazy, violent movies. But Sisu was amazing. Actually, Blood and Gold was really good as well. They're both great. Like,
Well, now I know what I'm going to watch this weekend.
and like the second poster, you can see
That's pretty cool.
the tank chasing the horse, the explosions, all the girls with machine guns. There's a dog down there. It's
I like how you say that. All the tank, all the girls with machine guns. There's a dog down there.
it's just balls to the wall violent, and it makes no
Yeah.
it's just ridiculous violence, but it's really, really well done.
Well,
So
no, I saw the trailer for that, and I was like, that looks amazing.
yeah, it's really good.
I'm
Really,
like,
really
the
good.
fight scenes in just the trailer look incredible, and I'm like, if you're giving me an hour and a half to 2 hours of just that,
Yeah.
I'd be super happy.
Oh, and that's all it is. Ridiculous violence.
See, but I love well
And
choreographed
realistic,
violence.
ridiculous violence.
See, I love that. I
Yeah.
love that.
Because I just walked into the living room and I'm like, where the fuck everyone go? And I'm like, I'm all by myself. I'm like, oh, and then I didn't know what to watch, and I was flipping, and I saw this, and I'm like, yes, I'm gonna watch that.
Yeah, I have a lot of like choice fatigue because I really have to sit down with myself and
Oh,
be like, what
I
do I feel like watching in my heart right now? Do I want a comedy? Do I want a horror? Do I want a movie that I actually have to really pay attention to? Which the answer has not been that lately. So I end up watching usually horror movies or like random old rom-coms because I'm like, I really don't have to think. There's enough
yeah,
thinking going on in the world right now.
yeah. I try to figure out what I want to watch before I sit, because if I sit down not knowing what to watch, an hour can go by. Like,
I
well,
have literally spent
it's almost time
like
for bed.
3 hours scrolling
Just
through
scrolling
the
and
various streaming things, being like, what do I feel like? What
yeah,
do I feel like? And then
and then
I
oh,
default
okay,
to
so I
like
got
Midsummer
10.
Murders.
Yeah, and then I got 10. I got 10 movies now. I gotta get it down to 5. Go get something to drink, make something to eat. Yeah, it's ridiculous. We're gonna try. Okay, so if you're listening to this now or after it's already gone past Wednesday, this is I Remember Like That Movie podcast live on YouTube. This part of it is not part of the podcast, so we try different things. We usually talk about something to do with the time period of the movie, Christmas stuff. We did Christmas. We went through the wish
Yeah.
book. We used to do like, it was one of my favorite things. We used to do TV shows and music of the year of the movie we were doing,
Mm.
but everyone who owns music is a greedy bitch and
They
flagged
have
us.
a rule where like if you only use like 30 seconds.
Yeah, I can understand if we use the whole song, that would negate like
Yeah.
radio stations, like they'd be like, what the fuck? But yeah, if we had just like 20,
Like, let me
30
play
seconds.
the chorus.
Yeah. God forbid
One
we show
chorus.
people a song that they might want to go and listen to again.
I know,
Idiots.
right? Or maybe even purchase.
Or purchase, yeah.
Shocking.
Actually, doing that, there was a bunch of songs that I'm like, oh, I either never heard of it or I have not heard of it for a very long time.
Mm.
But yeah.
That happens to me when I'm scrolling through TikTok because God bless, they'll usually be like, do you remember these songs from like 1997 or 2001? And I'm like, okay. And then I start listening and I'm like, oh my God, I know all of these songs.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So this was on the news, or it's floating
Oh
around the news.
yeah.
Shannon Doherty blames Kevin Smith for destroying her
Okay.
film career.
It may have destroyed her film career, which, by the way, fucking for reals, no, it didn't.
No.
But it started her Comic-Con career.
Yeah.
Because at conventions, she is super popular for signing the Mallrats stuff. I'm just saying.
And what show? Like, well, she did 90210. She
Yeah,
got kicked off.
Yes.
She did Charmed. She got kicked off. Starting to think maybe Kevin Smith maybe did. I like Shannon Doherty. I think she's fine. I like not the greatest.
I think she's a very respectable actress.
Yeah.
She was actually in one of my favorite. I believe it was a Hallmark movie. The Giant Pumpkin. It's so cute. Anyways, that's besides. So as an actress, I like Shannon Doherty. Now, when she was younger, she did not have the greatest on-set working relationship with her coworkers.
No.
Now, while I think we can all agree that Alyssa Milano was probably doing a little bit of posturing, and that led to Shannon getting fired from Charmed, the way everybody tells the story is Alyssa Milano's like, I can't work with her, so it's either going to be me or her.
And they went with her.
And the producers chose her. Now, they could have chosen Shannon and been like, peace out. Peace out, Alyssa. But they didn't. So, I mean, sure, you can be mad that she put that down. But, I mean, if the producers had just said, nah, we're not firing anybody. If you want to leave, leave. If you can't work with her, if you can't make it work, then go. That was their own fault. It was just Alyssa was a little more marketable. Because she had done a lot of this was, I think, if I'm not mistaken, Charmed was post her I'm not a little girl anymore, look at me be sexy phase that every child actress seems to go through at some point. So she had just done, oh god, the Jamie Buttafuoco story. She had done one of those.
We actually talked about those. There was like 3 of them all in the same year.
And nobody can ever remember which one was which. And then she also did she did Fear. Oh god, that movie. So like she did her I'm not a kid anymore stage. So I guess she was just more marketable at that point. And Shannon was just a grown-up.
Are they friendly at all?
No.
No. Okay.
No.
Now the other one that was on there, the Piper girl, that was the other one, right?
Yeah.
Is she friends with any of them?
Yep.
Yeah.
She's not really close with Alyssa, apparently. And everybody who's listening to this, if you'd like to correct me, feel free. I'm just telling you from what I know from my tabloid jaunts. So she's closer to Shannon than she is to Alyssa. And I think her and Alyssa, they didn't talk for a while. And then there was like some other stuff because apparently Alyssa dated one of the actors from the show Charmed, who played Piper's boyfriend/husband. And then when they broke up, like I think there was something during it. And then when they broke up, everybody became kind of friends again. But Alyssa and Holly never like really jived. They got along fine while working together, but they weren't like, let's go to Napa for the weekend. They weren't those friends.
No.
I want friends who are like, go to Napa for the weekend. That would be great.
All right. And The Mandalorian and Grogu are going to the big screen.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I hadn't heard about this.
Disney has not had a great year. Hasn't had a great couple of years. Favreau is actually directing this, which is awesome. And as long as Kathleen Kennedy stays away from it, it could be awesome. And if you're wondering why, I added something here. Ready?
Let's see it.
Put another gay diverse woman in and make it more fucking lame. No, what's going on with my stars? No, Kathleen Kennedy. Is there a problem, people?
We were just discussing ideas of what to do with the new Prince Eric movie.
Put a chick in it, make her gay.
Maybe we should go a different route than we did with Indiana Jones.
Fuck Indiana Jones, put a chick in it and make her lame and gay.
Sure, yeah. Well, let's try that. Again. Kathleen Kennedy is down on set right now, ruining the new Bambi movie.
Put a diverse woman in it. Make it lame.
Bambi's a baby deer.
Fuck baby dear, put a chick in it. Make her gay.
We've sent her away to have lunch at Spago. There you are, Miss Kennedy, the linguine and clam sauce.
Excuse me. I believe I asked you to put a chick in this and make her gay.
Yes, the chef was a little confused what you meant by that.
Means put a chick in the linguine and make her fucking gay. And I want it lame. Where the fuck is Bob Iger?
Mr. Iger just had to take some of the others to a screening.
I think that things are being kept from me. And if you're going to keep things from me, then you'd better put a chick in it and make it fucking gay as fuck.
I have not watched South Park in so long, and seeing this, I might catch it because they are very funny, and they do not hold back on anyone, on any side. If they can make fun of it, they will make fun of it.
I'm like, those people who just insult people because they think it's funny.
Yes,
that's South Park. They don't have allegiances to anyone.
No,
they're like, no. If you do something that we could possibly make fun of, even if we don't believe it.
Yeah,
we're gonna do it because it's funny. So I can give respect to them. Although I understand what Kathleen Kennedy was gonna do.
Yeah, I get it. Like she's been,
and I'm with it. But the
make
issue,
it good.
Yeah, but the issue I had is not even. It's partially Kathleen. I'm like, look, if you're a producer, the way that Disney went about everything after the initial, like, rollout of Avengers and the universe and all of that, once they started going into TV series, it's like they forgot how to plan.
It did get a little too much.
All of the work that they went into to make a cohesive cinematic experience for the films, for TV or for streaming, they just tossed that out the window and they were like, make everything now. And you're like, can you take 10 minutes and maybe think about what you're doing before you just start throwing all this shit at us? Because I can't keep up.
No, I haven't watched all. And one of the reviewers that I watch on YouTube, he was like, I didn't even watch the Marvels, the young girl Marvel show.
Yeah.
So I didn't even at the time had no idea who she was. And she's like in the movie and you're supposed to know. Not everybody. I have not watched every Marvel show. I can't keep up. If it's a really good one, I will make time. Like I love Loki and I haven't seen season 2 yet.
Honestly, there's a lot that I like, because one would come out and then literally like 3 weeks later, another one would come out and I'm like, okay. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, but which one do I watch? And I'm a Star Wars appreciator, but I wouldn't call myself a fan. So like Mandalorian's coming out and I'm like, cool, I want to watch that, but it's not like at the top of my list. However, I am a Marvel fan, but there's so much. I'm like, I don't know. It seems like there's no rhyme or reason. They're just pushing stuff out. And I'm like, are they interconnected? Are they not interconnected? And then people are like, oh yeah, no, if you watched, Scarlet Witch a year ago, there's a link. And it's so tenuous. You're like,
because she shows up in the Mouth of Madness, the Doctor Strange movie. The bad guy. And if you didn't watch that show on Disney Plus, you had no idea why she's bad now. So yes, I do agree. And hopefully, because Bob Iger is back, hopefully he can kind of reel it in a bit. Because he did mention that he goes, there's too much. And we're expecting everyone to watch everything and be caught up. And not everyone, some people are just into the movies.
And that's fine. And if you're
Make
going to
your
have
TV shows for just the TV shows.
But then you better be ready to have something in the movie that
explains
sets up
it.
What the TV show. Like, you don't have to do a full, like, and here's all the details. But if someone watches the movie and they're like, oh, I think that happens in the TV show, that must happen in the TV show, they're probably going to go back and watch it. So that they have more information and then rewatch the movie. I don't think, especially in this time of streaming, like this is not like back in the day when you had to go to the movie theaters and buy a ticket, or you had to you had appointment television where you had to tune in every week at the same time. You have a lot more flexibility, and the viewer has the ability to go back and be like, oh, I need more information. I can get that. it's at my fingertips. So
Yeah.
I think if they plan it a little better, like they did the Marvel movies, like they had a plan for the Marvel movies. And while some of them didn't necessarily hit the mark, they all served a purpose.
Yeah.
And the TV for Marvel, for Star Wars, for all of it, it's just kind of they're just throwing it out there.
Yeah. I the TV stuff is great, and I think it's kind of like Netflix did it right, where they had Daredevil, Luke Cage, and the what was her name? That was a great show too.
Jessica Jones.
Jessica Jones.
Such a good show.
And they had their own little TV shows, and then they had their 6-part, which wasn't great, but it had them all come together.
Yeah.
Do that. That way, that's great.
That's perfect.
Do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
keep complaining about Disney.
Yeah. Yeah. We're just complaining about Disney, but we are here to talk about the 2001 movie Out Cold. We are going to show our pre-recorded preview of Out Cold, and then when we've done that, we will come back and review it. Oh wait, I gotta find it. There it is. Let's get
there we
rid of
go.
Rust. Of course, it's nowhere to be streaming.
Of course not.
Nope. All right. Welcome to the I Remember Like That Movie podcast. And we are about to preview a movie from the 2000s, early 2000s, Out Cold. What do you remember about Out Cold?
Almost nothing.
Yeah, me neither. I remember little bits of it.
I remember very little bits because when this list was shared, when we were trying to decide what movie to do, Out Cold, I looked up the cast because I was like, I don't remember a movie called Out Cold. And I was like, oh, this was the one with Jason London. I used to have such a crush on him and his brother Jeremy. And
Zach
I was like, yeah, Zach Galifianakis is in it. David Koechner. And I was like, or Koechner. I never know how to pronounce his name. But anyways, I was like, I vaguely remember this movie and I remember laughing to it. But that's all I remember. I'm pretty sure there's a hot tub scene. I'm pretty sure there are antics on the mountain.
Yes. Lots of snowboarding. I remember snowboarding.
Yeah. Snowboarding. Oh God, yeah. Snowboarding. This is early 2000s when snowboarding was like huge. Are we having technical difficulties? You're muted.
We need a technical difficulty sign.
We do.
Let me just video file. Of course, it's.
I'm pretty sure there are antics on the mountain.
Yes, lots of snowboarding. I remember snowboarding.
Yeah, snowboarding. Oh God, yeah, snowboarding. This is early 2000s when snowboarding was like huge.
And I remember the prank on Zach Galifianakis. His character. There was a prank on him. I remember that in the car, and I remember, of course, I can't remember the model's name. Anyways, the pretty girls, and
pretty girls. Well, I mean, I think this was a standard.
Yeah,
like any 2000s movie, there was always like a group of really good-looking guys.
Yeah.
And then there was a group of very pretty girls who, if we're going to be honest, is usually like way out of the league of the guys.
Oh, yeah.
Like they're leaps and bounds beyond them. Like still good looking guys, 100%.
But not that good looking. No. Yeah, that's been since the 70s and 80s and 90s, these type of movies. I thought this movie was rated R. It's not. It's rated PG-13.
Interesting.
Yeah, I was a little like, but anyways, and just so people that are listening or watching, this was not either of our first choice. You actually picked Ski Patrol from the 90s. I picked Hot Dog the movie from the 80s, which negates both of our picks, and we picked the third one wins, which was Out Cold. All ski related, all snow.
Yes, I remembered more of Ski Patrol not that much more than I did of the other. I don't even think I've seen Hot Dog.
Oh
I
no.
was like, no. I was like,
It-
I
and
don't think I've seen that one.
the finale is hundreds and hundreds. It's a race to the bottom. Whoever gets to the bottom wins, and there are no rules. And it's hundreds and hundreds of skiers start at the top of this giant mountain, and they go and they push each other, they hit each other.
Yeah, no, I haven't
And
seen that.
no, okay.
No, but I remember watching Ski Patrol. 'Cause
Shannon
apparent-
Tweed's in it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Shannon Tweed and her boobies.
I love Shannon Tweed and her.
I love
boobies.
Shannon Tweed because every movie she was in, you got to see her boobies. If you were a
Well-
kid and you saw Shannon Tweed in the movie, you're like, I gotta see some boobies.
Yeah, but isn't that kind of just like that was her shtick?
Pretty
To me-
much.
I mean,
She could kind of like she wasn't a bad actress either.
no, I like her
Like,
as an actress. I've seen her
yeah.
in some stuff.
So and they were not the greatest films, but like at least her acting was good.
Yeah,
I understand why Gene Simmons married her. Her boobs were fantastic.
it's funny though because I watched that reality show that they had, the
Oh,
Gene
back
Simmons
in the
and
day,
the family.
Gene
Yeah, I
Family
watched.
Jewels.
That's it. Thank you.
Yeah.
So I watched a few episodes of it, and I was like, Shannon Tweed is awesome. I kind of just want to be her friend. Like, I think we could hang out, drink wine by the pool. She's great
Yeah, she seemed
So,
really cool.
and Canadian.
Yeah.
Yeah, very proud. Very, very proud.
And I like Gene Simmons. I know he can come across as a douche.
He is a douche.
Yeah, but he's
He
so
is a douche.
cool.
He, I don't know about cool. He's funny.
Yeah, he's very funny.
I think he's incredibly entertaining.
Yeah.
And
And he knows
incredible
that
businessman.
he's not blind to the fact that he's an entertainer and that's what he's supposed to
Yeah.
do. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, fantastic. So yeah, we went with Out Cold.
We went
Because-
without cold.
We didn't agree on what movie to pick.
All right, so let's take a look at some box office for Out Cold. Let me blow this up because I'm getting older here. November 21st, 2001, it was released, which makes great sense. Winter's coming. At a budget of 24 million. That seems very high for 2001 comedy, but
It
It-
was an ensemble, and they would have been shooting on location.
yes. Oh,
So
yeah, they had to
both of
shoot on
those-
location.
Yeah,
Yeah.
both of those would have increased budget quite a bit.
It opened in 2011 theaters on the same day as Black Knight. That was with Martin Lawrence.
Mm.
And Spy Game with Eddie Murphy.
Oh
It
yeah.
opened at number 6. Behind in order, Harry Potter, the first one, the Philosopher's Stone,
Yeah.
or the Sorcerer's Stone if you're in dumb North America like we are. I can't believe they thought we were that stupid.
Hey.
Well, we better dumb it down for those North American people. Monster Inc., Spy Game, Black Knight, and Shallow Hal. And that's where the movies
wow.
are ahead of them in 2001.
I hate
we-
Shallow Hal.
Yeah, I did not like that movie very much.
Yeah.
Weekend total 6.7 million, just over. Domestic total 13.9, international 876. So it's gross almost $15 million. 14,700,000. So it didn't make its money back, but the blessing in disguise was this was the beginning of 2000. Blockbuster was still going strong, so it could have recouped its money in the on TV and in the movie.
Maybe broken even. I don't know about
Recoup their
maybe.
investment, maybe. Got
Maybe.
a little further out of the red. All right, and let us see. Right, get out of here. Let's go to the tail of the tape. Out Cold, released 2001, is a comedy rated PG-13 and comes in at a very comedy-like 1 hour and 29 minutes.
beautiful.
Taglines. They haven't quite figured it all out, but they're getting a little warmer.
I really don't like that.
No.
No.
And that was it.
That was it. They put their marketing money into that.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Synopsis. A bunch of snowboarding employees at an Alaskan ski resort try to outsmart a leisure mogul who has major redevelopment plans for the business. Plans that include getting rid of most of the party-loving staff. Matters are complicated when the mogul's 2 daughters show up on the scene, and it transpires that one of them dumped the resort's snowboard king several years ago.
Ooh.
It's not much of a plot, but it's pretty standard. for these type of movies. Actually, I think
Yeah.
that's the standard for any ski camp.
That's also, I think, the standard for quite a few Hallmark movies. I'm just saying.
Oh, okay.
There's usually a mogul who
Hmm.
has their mind changed.
And here is the movie poster. Now, for those listening, it's just a little clip on the one side with the entire or the main cast on a snowboard flying off of it. Some gloves are flying off, and just below them is Out Cold. I don't mind the poster.
No, the poster's good.
I did not see this in theaters.
I did not either.
No, this would have been a rental.
This would have been when it popped up on TV.
This is where it takes a turn. Let's go to Rotten Tomatoes. This is usually where it takes.
This is always where it takes a turn.
50 critic reviews have this movie coming in at 8.
Holy
That's-
crap!
The one after 7 and the one before 9. Not 18, not 80, in case it's not coming through audio. 8. 8%.
Oito.
25,000 plus audience give it 84%.
Oh,
So this is a very much a critics hated it and the audience loved it.
interesting.
So yeah. Critic consensus, a party movie that substitutes surf for snow. Out Cold will leave viewers just that with its gross out humor and sophomore plot. I mean, what were you expecting for this type of movie?
I was gonna
It's
say
gross out humor and stupid plot.
they made a lot of those in the early
right.
2000s.
Yes. And in the 80s.
Yeah.
And yeah. You may start with The Fresh. There was not a
No,
lot.
thank you. Funnier than Woody Allen's last 4 movies, more exciting than Tarkovsky's The Sacrifice. Out Cold will play best if your first legal beer is still far enough into the future to seem a vision of the promised land. Don Irvine, Globe and Mail, original score out of 4. That's the most passive aggressive review.
Yeah. Funnier than it has any right to be, and it's generally enjoyable. Eric Lirio, Greenwich Village Gazette.
Greenwich.
Greenwich. Dr. Seuss over here.
No, hey, you sounded it out, and that's what it should sound like.
Yeah, I have a 6-year-old, people. That's what I do. We sound it out. That's what it looked like.
By the laws of English, it should have been Greenwich. But by the laws of English, it should not sound anything like it's spelt.
Yeah.
Okay. It sort of sucks, but you'll still secretly have a pretty good time watching it. Dave White, iFilm. I feel like Dave White and I are
Now,
on the same page.
Yeah. I hope so. And this is from, I'll do the first one and we'll just take turns. This is from the actual viewers audience from Rotten Tomatoes. This was my favorite movie when I was a kid, 11, when it came out. It's chock full of that early 2000s humor and even has Zach Galifianakis getting his wiener stuck in a hot tub. That has an emoji of a smiley face and a snowboarder. Great snowboard movie, in my opinion. Thumbs up. Nathan P. 5 stars out of 5.
This is amazing.
Gets his wiener stuck in a hot tub. Well, there you go. You said you thought there might be shenanigans in a hot tub, and looks like there is.
Shenanigans in a hot tub. This movie is a classic 2000s late night Comedy Central movie. Love the punk rock soundtrack and lighthearted story. Turn your brain off and laugh. Will H, 4.5 stars.
That sounds like
Really
I don't know.
positive.
Yeah, and kind of one of those. There are some movies you just got to turn your brain off and go with the
Oh,
flow.
100%. Not every movie is a thinker.
No,
Let's be clear.
it's a cheesy movie with dumb jokes. Expect nothing more. However, if you live in a ski town and have been watching corporations ruin your town, it hits home. Matt B, 4 stars. Looks like Matt grew up around a ski. Took this one a little to heart.
Yeah, Matt lives and works in a ski town. He's
All
Karen's
right. Yeah. Rotten, you may go. There was a lot to choose from.
Out Cold is basically Porky's in the Snow, and it's a pale imitation at that. You can't go into this movie expecting anything innovative. Urban Cinephile critics, Urban Cinephile.
Now there is a few of these because they just were not. They just were savagely against this movie. So there's a few of them. Out Cold is essentially a spineless, unfunny Animal House. The pretense of the plot is distracting and insulting. Walter Chaw, Film Freak Central 0.5 out of 4.
Dang, Walter. Basically a low rent remake of the 1984 low rent teenage sex comedy Hot Dog, the movie. Christy Lemire, Associated Press.
So we have Porky's, Animal House, Hot Dog the movie.
And then this is just a cheap imitation of all three of those.
Yep. I would mention that Out Cold boasts some pretty impressive snowboarding sequences, but so do most TV commercials. Scott Weinberg, eFilmCritic.com, 3 out of 10.
Scott Savage. If you've made a movie in which former TV star Lee Majors is the funniest person present, then you have surely made a movie that sucks a lot. Eric D. Snyder, ericdsnyder.com, D+.
Mm-hmm. The title says all there is to say about this pathetic hunk of moron bait. Jim Lane, Sacramento News and Review, 1 out of 5. And you got to remember, this is an audience. These are actual critics.
These are critics. These are critics. They're looking for quality in a movie.
Yeah.
Suckers. The best that can be said of Out Cold is that it is generally more lame than obnoxious. Steve Rhodes, Internet Reviews, 1 out of 4.
When Lee Majors can steal every scene he's in, your movie's in trouble. Carla Meyer, San Francisco Chronicle, 1 out of 4.
Well, they're really harping on this Lee Majors.
Yeah. I love Lee Majors.
Me too. Like watching an hour and a half long Mountain Dew commercial. Michael Phillips, City Search.
And when I read that, I forgot because I don't have regular TV. I am thinking about getting it again, but I don't, not for a long time. But back in the late 90s, 2000s, the amount of Mountain Dew commercials.
Oh God, yes.
And they were cool. They did have a lot of.
Oh, they were so cool. It was all
Yeah.
about being extreme and wild and like crazy. This ought to be fun.
I remember this being much funnier and actually misremembered this as a hard R comedy when it is in fact a pretty tame PG-13. While I was never a big fan, the heavily featured Jack Johnson soundtrack reminds me of younger days. Unknown 2.5 stars. This is an audience. These are now audience ones.
This movie was terrible. I think only people who are voting on RT are people who liked it. So I made an account just to give it the 1 star it deserves. The critics, weighing in at 8%, were absolutely correct. Trey M, 1 star.
So he made his own account just so he can give it 1 star. As crappy as you'd expect it to be. William S, 1 star. Oh.
I'm so excited to watch this movie.
Yeah, I know this is IMDb.
Yes.
The voice of reason. The Internet Movie Database has 18,000 user ratings, giving it 6.2. That's a little more encouraging than the 8% that Rotten Tomatoes did. And you can start.
Oh, thank you. Critics suck. 10 out of 10. Optical data 688.52.
Amazing for what it doesn't try to be, but is. 9 out of 10. DHSA 15629.
Best worst movie ever. This movie is horrible and you should love it. 8 out of 10. BR Lancer.
Although it may seem like the same old crap, snowboard hot chicks and funny jokes actually work. 7 out of 10. Knox Hitman.
Even a blind man could find a T and A in this movie. Reach out and grab some. 6 out of 10. Wax 55.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks, Wax 55.
If
Giving
only
hopes
3D
and dreams to everyone.
Yeah, if only 3D was around back then. Very boring, uneventful film. Oh, and not funny. 5 out of 10. Walt Dittrich.
Oh, Walt. I don't get it. And no, I'm not R word. R slur.
When I read that, I swear to Christ, I didn't spit my coffee out, but the foam, because I make lattes at home.
Yeah,
but
you do.
The foam, it was kind of like the foam kind of went out onto my computer screen as well.
God bless. God bless Dan BK3 who gave this movie 4 out of 10. I see where he's going, but he firmly landed in I'm gonna use a slur.
Yeah, and this was a 2002 review.
Okay, that makes sense then. That was before everybody recognized it as a slur. So this would have been just normal language for him.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And for all of us.
Something of a guilty pleasure, except there's no pleasure involved, and I feel kind of guilty not warning you. This is a very unfunny comedy. 3 out of 10. Theo Robertson. I'm getting more and more excited about watching this. I don't know if I want it to be good or to be this bad.
I'm torn about that too because
Yeah.
I'm like, God, this is gonna be incredible. This movie could have been a cult classic if it didn't suck so bad. 2 out of 10. 80103.
Oh, here we go. Sucked. 1 out of 10. Arkaran.
I wonder if he didn't like it. I mean, so ambiguous.
This is either people seem to love it or they do not like it, and their do
Yeah.
not like it ranges from 5 to 1.
True story. Jeez.
Wow, that is our reviews. So that just leaves us. Oops, get out of there. To watch. Oh, of course I don't have it ready. Give me 1 second. Thank God to edit video file. Now I could only find one actual trailer for this movie. It is not of the greatest quality. It's very grainy and
You mean
But-
they're not gonna remaster the movie and then issue another trailer? No.
nope. Nope. They did not.
But it's a cinematic classic.
Here we go.
You all know the rules of King of the Mountain. The first one to the bottom with the most beer in your glass shall be proclaimed this year's King of the Mountain. Pushing, shoving, and cheating are encouraged. He is the greatest man I've ever known.
In a place where the thrill is all that matters. Rick Rambis and his friends are the best of the best. They know what they want.
I know that I'm in love with her. Have you told her this? No. You've got to. Carpe the diem. Seize the car.
And they're always willing
He's passed out. We'll put him in Rick's car. Might give him a heart attack.
to push things over the edge.
1, 2, 3.
This winter,
I'm not gonna lose you again. So, still wanna hook up?
You're gonna have to try a lot harder than that, Rick.
So, you still wanna hook up?
the competition is on.
Wish me luck. Guys, this is gonna be it. Let's make it count.
Out cold.
He's passed out again.
I'm gonna need 10 pounds of salt. Get his pants.
Ow! Ow!
Okay, that made me a little more hopeful for this movie. Not a lot, but a little bit.
All right. We got our box office. We had our tail of our tape. We saw all that stuff. We saw the reviews. We saw the thing. What's your predictions for Out Cold?
I think I am gonna laugh at some points, but I don't know if I'm gonna laugh as much as I remember laughing before. But I think it will elicit some laughs.
And it's I'm kind of going by that one review, like just turn your brain off, and
Yeah.
it is what it is. Like there are movies back PCU, Europe Vacation, Sex Drive, or
Yep.
Sex Drive or Sex. Just the one with road trip.
Road Trip. I love that movie.
Maybe it was Road Trip. I'm thinking
One of
about.
the stupidest movies I've ever seen in my life, but I love it.
Yeah, and it's just one of those movies. There are some movies that they're very low on plot and just they're just
Yep.
meant to be fun. Hopefully, this one's one of them. It looks the PG-13's kind of like but it does look like it looks like it'll still be fun.
Looks like it's got some fun stuff in it.
Yeah.
I'm not expecting great dialogue.
No.
I want to be entertained.
Yeah.
That's it. I want to be entertained. It's my one and only hope. Also, in case anybody wants to watch Hot Dog, the movie, it is on Tubi.
Oh, sweet.
So if anybody wants to go watch that for comparison,
Yeah.
okay, watch Out Cold first, then watch Hot Dog.
Yeah.
That's what I'm gonna do.
I know Hot Dog actually you see booby. And there was that the female there riding the mechanical bull that's out of everyone's league.
Yes.
That was her. I know she's a model. I can't remember her name. I apologize, but that's her.
Is it Victoria Silvstedt?
Yeah, sounds Swedish. She looks Swedish.
I know. She's pretty hot.
But we will not be seeing her boobies in a PG-13. But we will see Zach Galifianakis getting his wiener stuck in a hot tub. So there is that.
Silver lining
Yeah.
to every cloud.
All right. Well, we are going to go watch Out Cold. And when we come back, we are going to review it.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Delicious things to eat.
The popcorn can't be beat. The sparkling drinks are just dandy. The chocolate bars and the candy. So let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
And now, on with the show.
With the show. Am I muted? No, I'm not.
No, you're not. You're good.
I'm good. Okay. Welcome back, everyone. I hope that was sufficient time to go and watch Out Cold. Now, did you watch Out Cold?
Oh boy, did I ever.
Your initial thoughts?
I liked it a lot more than I thought I would.
Really?
Yeah. Super offended most of the time, but it was really good.
By today's standards, for PG-13, really offensive.
Well, there was a lot where I was like, did they just say, oh yeah, they did. Oh, there it is again. There it is again.
My initial thoughts was, while I was watching this, was Anna's probably not going to like this movie. Because one of the takeaways is, and this is a public service announcement, it's an hour and a half of Lee Majors, the $1 Million Man Fall Guy, walking around calling one person, not everyone, retarded repeatedly.
No.
Entire movie.
But he did not say retarded. He just called him retard.
Retard. Yes. Yeah. No. Yeah.
Yeah. Like he was very specific.
Yes.
He was like, the first time he said it, I went.
That's what I was like. Did he just say what I think? Because it's been so long since I've heard it in TV, movies, and I'm like, did he just say what I? Did he?
So
just
I rewound it. By the way, you're going to totally have to put a trigger warning on this. For slurs, FYI. But when I first heard it, I went, no, wait, because it was kind of low. The volume was kind of low on his dialogue. So I was like,
yeah,
wait, what? So I rewound it and I was like, oh yeah, no, he said that. And then he just kept saying it through the entire movie. And I was like, oh wow.
Well, if you notice, like he said it kind of low. He did kind of say it low for the first couple times.
Yeah.
As the movie progressed, he got very
loud.
Very loud with it. But it was
loud.
for everything. Like you fought like that. You look like that. Yeah. And my wife at the beginning, because she was coming in and out, and she was like, did he just say? He sure did. And then she's like, well, that's horrible. But like by the 20th time, she's giggling. And it just goes back to that. Because when you grow up in that time period, that's how they talked.
No, like honestly, in 2001, that was when the awareness of just how jacked up that word makes people feel started coming to the forefront.
Yeah.
And that was like, honestly, the world was incredibly ableist before probably 1995. 1995, people started putting their hands up and being like, "Could you not?" And the rest of the world was like, "Fuck you. We're going to do whatever we want."
Yeah.
And then slowly it started picking up. So 2001, it was still perfectly acceptable to talk like that.
Yeah.
And you didn't think about who you were hurting. It was just like, well, yeah, that's just a word that,
It's just a word.
It's just a word.
Yeah, and because and a big part of, and another big part of it was, if you were younger, I saw the $1 Million Man reruns. I
Yep.
saw the Fall Guy.
Mhm.
Lee Majors was part of your childhood TV experience. To see
Lee Majors.
it was quite comical.
Yeah, he was such a dick.
He was, and yeah, I don't think I heard one F-bomb.
I don't think so.
No.
I don't remember it. But there was more than enough. I also
Yes.
cringed every time they said Eskimos.
Oh.
And I'm like, I get it. I get it. It was 2001. Like, nobody was doing like land declarations.
No.
We were still pretending the residential schools were a good idea. Like, it's 2001.
Yeah.
I understand. But at the same time, every time it was Eskimos, I would whisper to myself, Inuit.
Yes.
Inuit.
So just if anyone's listening, if you remember, like in this movie, yeah, there is language that you will be very familiar. If you remember, like this movie, you probably were around that time. It is very familiar. If you're with someone who's not familiar, or it could be they might not like it.
Yeah, no, you definitely like if there are people who cannot handle someone using a slur repeatedly
in
the context of the movie. Although Lee Major gets his comeuppance. So I
Yes.
mean, it's kind of nice. It's kind
Yeah.
of nice. You're like, you know what? Fuck you, you bigot. You ableist bigot. Yes, let's do.
And I think that was actually the movie, the filmmaker's point, as childish and immature, and that was the point. They make him this douchebag, and
Yeah,
like every other movie, gets his comeuppance. Yeah, the soundtrack was killer.
Oh my god, I loved it.
The snowboarding was awesome. There were some funny parts. And
Honestly, there's one part that I laughed so hard, and I was like, if this is the hardest that I laugh in this entire film, I'm so embarrassed for myself, but I'm also really pleased for myself. And we'll get to the movie.
yeah, and then and aside from Lee Majors, like I didn't hate this movie at all. Make no mistake, this is a horrible movie.
Oh,
It's not shot well. That doesn't include the snowboarding shots. They were actually pretty good. The script is hacky at best. The acting is actually okay for what it was. But it blurs the line of straight comedy and parody.
Yes.
Pacing is bad. The plot is ludicrous.
The plot is so ludicrous.
Yeah.
The subplots, because there are many. Like, you're just kind of weaving in and out, and there's some things that are just so ridiculous.
Yeah.
You can't help but laugh, but you're like, I feel like somebody just got really high on a snowboarding trip and decided to write this movie, and I'm not totally mad about it.
No, and from getting from A to point B just happens. Nothing in the story leads you there. It just happens. But I found it comforting. It's not, again, it's a horrible fucking, it's like
This
that
movie is literally a no-brainer.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you definitely got to turn off the brain. There is no thinking involved in this at
It just
all.
leads you everywhere you need to go.
Yeah.
And they're just like pit stops along
Yeah.
the way to get to the end. And then you're sitting there going, but what? I don't know how we got here, but I'm glad we're here. Thanks.
Yeah. And the plot that I got from Wikipedia is super small.
This ought to be fun.
So I did make some notes in between because it's like almost 2 paragraphs long. I'm not lying. And to Wikipedia's defense, there's not a whole lot of plot in this movie too, but there is a lot that happens in the movie.
Yeah. There's action, but not a lot of plot.
Exactly. Yeah. All right. So let's go through this movie. All right. Wikipedia. Rick Rambus. I didn't even know that was his last name. Best friend Luke and other friends Anthony, Pigpen, Jenny, Lance, and Stumpy all live and work at a ski resort on Bull Mountain in Alaska. The mountain and resort were founded by Herbert Papa Muntz, who loved to drink and ski at the same time until he died doing so. So we get an overview of the mountain from Stumpy,
Yes.
David Kochner? Kochner?
We should
Who gives
really
us-
find out how to
Yeah.
pronounce his name.
Who gives us a rundown of Papa Muntz bought the mountain or stole it from the Eskimos.
Stole it from the Eskimos, fair and square.
Fair and square.
Fair and square.
He loves skiing and drinking at the same time, and usually had his ass hanging out, and he was drunk while he skied.
Yes, because safety first, friends. Safety first.
So we open in a bar. The guys are talking about the mountain might be sold.
Mhm.
Jenny, the hot chick from Criminal Minds,
AJ Cook, who I love.
walks in, goes to the bar. Creepy Eric puts her drinks on his tab while smelling her hair.
Lots of sniffing.
Eric is played by Thomas Lennon, and if you don't know that name, you will know his face. He's been in there. He's not that old. He's already almost at 200 things on IMDb, but Reno 911 probably is his most famous, and just popping up in these odd movies as the straight guy, the douchey guy, the creepy guy, and he's really, really good.
He is only 53 years old.
Yeah.
I literally grew up with him, and yes, you see him in literally everything.
Yeah, tons of TV shows just for one episode, couple episodes here. Yeah.
Tons of movies and like really small roles, but they're always really funny.
And Reno 911, which I just found out is on demand, available on demand on Pluto.
Oh,
Yeah, not on a Pluto channel. You have to go to the on demand part.
That's
and
fine.
Every episode is up to 6 is there.
Okay. That's good
So
to know.
I might start watching that because I remember that being really funny. But anyways, back to this. She actually is ordering drinks for the table of friends, so Eric gets stuck with the bill. We then, for no reason, go with a King of the Mountain competition, which is basically everyone entered has a mug of beer, and the first one down to the Papa Muntz statue with most beer in the mug wins. I did like the snowboarding, the wipeouts, the punching. It's no Hot Dog, the movie, but it was fun to watch. It must be said, skiing or snowboarding down the hill with a giant glass mug is probably not the safest of.
No. And they were not wearing any kind of safety gear. And at some point, they all just started like AJ Cook takes off her shirt. Or
I have a
opens her
note. The
jacket
hot
or
chick from
flash-
Criminal Minds not only didn't show boobs, but her character flashes Pigpen in her bra, but her face wasn't shown. And I think they used stunt titties, covered up stunt titties, which makes sense if AJ Cook is not a good snowboarder.
Well,
to actually do that while holding a beer, and that's you
Not a
probably
chance in
want
hell.
someone that knows kind of what they're doing.
Yeah. It was funny to watch the like just ridiculousness of them all. And also I love that, oh God, what was his character's name? It was played by Flex Alexander. Anthony. They're like, yeah, you're gonna wipe out. And he's like, no, not
this
today.
time.
Not this time.
And he
It's gonna
does.
happen.
Like right away. Yeah, because Luke is like, yeah, you're gonna wipe out like you did last year, and the year before that, and the year before that. Yeah, you kind of get the idea that he's not a very good snowboarder.
No, but for some reason, I think he's teaching snowboarding.
Yeah, I think he's one of the teachers.
Yeah, and I was like, excuse me, I was very impressed they had a black snowboarder in this movie in 2001, and I was like, look at this.
Well, that was at that area. That was like, and they made jokes in other movies in the 2000. Your token black character.
Yeah.
Like Scary Movie made fun of it. A lot of movies made fun of that.
A lot of the satires that were for like younger, like 20 teens something, they always talked about the token black guy.
Yeah.
And in this movie, we actually had the token black guy.
Actually had it, yeah. And in horror
'Cause
movies,
there was literally
the token black person dies first.
Yeah, he's just the one that wipes out.
He's just the one that wipes out.
Black guy.
But he was actually not bad in this movie.
He was
I like
funny.
his character. Yeah.
I enjoyed him. He probably gave me my first chuckle in this movie. Well, actually, no, I lie. I think it might have been Thomas Lennon with Eric when he's sniffing the hair, because he really goes in there.
Yeah, he does creepy well.
Yeah, he really does.
Our hero Rick, Jason London, wins by jumping onto the roof of a building and getting ahead of everyone and keeping beer in his mouth and spitting it back in the mug after getting to the statue first. I like how the statue has his bare ass on Papa Muntz.
Of course.
Okay, back to Wikipedia. His son Ted took over the mountain and plans to sell to wealthy Colorado ski resort tycoon John Majors.
Yeah, they named him Majors, and I was like, oh my God,
Yeah.
they did that.
In addition to being friends, Rick has romantic designs on Jenny, but is held back as he is still getting over his ex, Anna, who mysteriously disappeared after 3 weeks of summer of love in Mexico.
Literally like a year ago, 3 weeks of spending
Yeah.
every day together. And he's like, no, she's the love of my life. And she just disappeared. And I actually made a note. So terrible. I was like, girl, get some dignity. Like for Jenny. I was
Well,
like,
she's
Jenny,
putting herself out there.
she's putting herself out there. But he's like, hey, you want to hook up? And she's like, try a little harder. He gets really serious and he's like, hey, you want to hook up? And she's like, nah. But I was like, girl, you need to stop waiting for this man. This man is broken.
Yeah.
Go find you a fixed one.
Yeah. Yeah. Because so I made a note, like he walks Jenny, the hot chick from Criminal Minds.
Yeah.
Actually, there are more than one on that show, but the hot blonde chick from Criminal Minds, but for short, we'll just call her the hot chick from Criminal Minds. She's like, if you want to come in and do it, basically, I'm not going to say no. And he's like, I'm still not over that girl, Cancun. And it was like, was it a year ago?
I feel like it was a year ago.
Yeah. And I'm sitting there like, what
it was a while.
Fuck, dude. It's
And
the
I was
hot
like,
chick
for
from
3
Criminal
weeks.
Minds.
Right?
And I know she doesn't look like the 12-year-old you were seeing in fucking Cancun. Does she not look
She looked
startlingly
so
young in that flashback scene?
She looked so young. I was like,
I'm like,
sir,
I'm
you're
looking
gonna
at
get
going, did she
arrested."
just start high school?
She looks like
probably
she
had to
should
go
be
back.
wearing. I think she's in boarding school. That's what I
Yeah.
think. Yeah.
Now for those listening, the actress, hold on, I wrote it down. Caroline Daverness.
Yeah.
I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. Was actually 2021 making this movie. And she looked much older when she shows up later, but she did look super young in those Cancun flashbacks.
Oh,
And
God.
it showed Rick and Caroline, no, what was her name in the movie? Anna. In like a montage of them doing things, obviously in front of a green screen. Although it was 2001, it could have been blue screen. And it looked cheap, but I think that was on purpose.
It was.
He told the story. Yeah.
Tandem bike.
What? Oh, the tandem bike. Yeah. Or they're on like the pedal boat and
Yeah. There was a lot.
And then because she didn't show up for the tandem bike ride.
Yeah.
And then it shows him riding it by himself, crying.
It was like, oh, poor thing.
Oh. And he's telling this story to Pigpen and I think Rick was actually crying when it went back to the car. He was crying as he told the story. So super hot chick for Criminal Minds is like, let's hook up. Super sensitive and maybe closeted Rick is like, nah, I'm good. And I'm like, you bitch. We then cut to the bar where Luke, Zach Galifianakis, is passed out, which becomes a running gag.
Mhm.
And his brother Pigpen and the others take him out to the woods, pour salt on his crotch, and he wakes up with a polar bear going at his crotch.
Mhm.
Now, I won't say this too often during this review, but I know it was a dummy sitting there with the polar bear, which I totally get. Polar bears aren't known for their,
gentleness,
friendliness. Yeah. But it didn't look bad. The way they cut back and forth, it was actually pretty good.
No. It was actually, I was like, oh, you guys really actually thought about that shot. Good for you.
Didn't think about a lot of the other parts of the movie, but some
No,
parts
no,
you
God
did.
bless. God bless.
I do love when he and Rick are talking later, and Luke is like, I think I got an STD from a polar bear.
That was amazing.
And this
I
is the
giggled at that one.
Yeah. And this is the introduction to the movie. Rick is the hero, Jenny the love interest or wants to be, Anna the girl who broke Rick's heart, Luke his best friend, Pigpen the idiot brother, Anthony the black token guy, maybe my favorite, Lance the bartender, who is the closet gay man. He was friggin' funny in this. He was the boyfriend from The Office, right? He played Pam's boyfriend. I know he's been in a lot of other things.
David Denman was in The Office.
Yeah.
For like 8 years. So yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I've never watched The Office.
and also Stumpy. And he might be my favorite, the psycho who just shows up for a one-liner out of nowhere. And Eric, the creepy guy who works for Teddy, the current owner of the mountain.
Fantastic. But I just want to say I'm super proud. I'm super proud of myself. Because when you first enter into the bar and you see Lance for the first time and his character starts talking, I was like, my gaydar is going off.
Yeah, he's gay.
I'm like, he's
So
gay.
gay.
But then he starts talking about women, and I was like, is he not? I don't understand. And then, as the movie kind of went on, I was like, oh, my gaydar is still working. Yeah.
They actually did. It was very clever. Again, I'm not going to be saying this much about this movie, but they did do it where he comes across gay, but then he's like
but
a
he's not.
womanizer. And then you're like, oh, but then they start showing hints that he's doesn't want to be a womanizer.
Yeah, there's just little things where you're kind of like, huh. My gay friends have said that. You kind of have a moment where you're like, oh, maybe. And then it's very much a non-issue in this movie, which I also want to give them props for. And I also want to give them extra props for not making him flamboyant and not a caricature, which I appreciate.
Yeah.
He was just Lance the bartender who apparently sleeps with every woman he meets. Good for you, Lance.
To prove he's not gay.
Exactly.
And we'll get to that. He has an awakening. After arriving at the mountain, John Majors plans to change the mountain name and turn the ski village into a first-class resort, but seeks Rick's help in getting his rowdy friends in line as not to scare off his investors. Lee Majors, Arsler's peppered throughout this movie, was actually really good in this movie. Like, it's kind of like when you see David Hasselhoff, you're like, David Hasselhoff, but they play the character they're supposed to play perfectly. They usually play out there Lee Majors or an out there David Hasselhoff, and he was fantastic.
He was.
John brings with him to the mountain his daughters, Inga, a Swiss ski bunny, played by Victoria Silvas. I can't pronounce it. She was a Playboy Playmate of the year.
She
plus some Miss whatever months. And I'm like, really? Fucking PG-13? Are you kidding me? But if you're listening and trying to remember, Victoria or Inga managed to do a lot with that PG-13. I will say that.
Oh, yeah.
She really does. Bravo to her.
Yeah.
And Anna, Rick's summer fling. What were the odds? A grade 9 student he met in Cancun would show up at the mountain he works at. In Alaska of all fucking places. Yeah, this story or plot is for shit. There must have been hundreds of writers after seeing this movie going, are you kidding me? My scripts get passed, but this makes it to the theater.
Who did the writer sleep with?
Yeah, exactly. After Anna's arrival, Rick then gets drunk and misses his date with Jenny. Yes, after Rick tells the hot chick from Criminal Minds he doesn't want to go home with her and bang, sees her the next day and asks her out for dinner. He sees his fling from Cancun, who does now look much older, thank God, is heartbroken all over again and grabs a bottle and goes to his room and gets drunk, missing his date. Now, we also get around this time what may be the funniest part of this movie. Luke passes out drunk again. So Pigpen, Lance, and Anthony take him out and put him in Rick's car. A bunch of people start spinning the car around the slick road until they're just flying, and everyone in the car starts screaming. Luke wakes up, sees that the car is spinning. He's in the driver's seat. He's trying to spin the wheel, saying, I got this. I got this. That was fucking great. When he realizes it's just a prank and they're laughing at him, and he grabs his brother's head and starts slamming it into the... Like, that's awesome.
That was funny, but that's not the part that I laughed the hardest at.
And I will say this, for such a shit movie, like a horrible movie, there were a lot of funny parts into this. And just one character, there were funny characters in this movie.
Sometimes just the character walking through saying one line and you're like, yes.
Yeah.
Because it's also, and this is one thing I really appreciate, it's a very small town.
Yeah.
It's a very small town because there are all characters who have these things because, Luke passing out is just a common occurrence. So everybody's like, ooh, I wonder what they're going to do to Luke now.
Because everyone on the street gets in on the prank and starts
they're all like, oh, we're spinning the car. Okay, cool. Nobody's standing there going, guys, that's not very nice. Everybody's like, oh, yeah, no, because Luke passed out. like usual. Stumpy randomly telling the most random fucking stories that are just
psycho.
weird and like uncomfortable. And you're just like, and everybody's like, yeah, cool. And you're just like, this feels like such a good small town movie.
Yeah,
And you can't
it's
help
like,
but laugh.
and I'm sure back then you were thinking, I could do that. I could live in that town.
Oh, I 100%. I was watching
And
this movie and I was like, when do I
yeah,
move?
yeah.
I want to
go. I would go hang out that town. I would move to that town. That'd be fun.
Oh, fuck yeah. I'm like, do they need a bartender at Lance's? I could do it. I could do it.
I could teach people how to snowboard just as good as fucking Anthony can. I can wipe out too.
You're like, here, let me teach you how to fall. It's
Yeah.
amazing. I've done it millions of times and haven't hurt myself.
Later, Anne explains she left Rick in Mexico because she was already engaged and that Rick was the other man. New guy is a doctor and a pilot.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be like, okay, hot chick from Criminal Minds. Let's do this. He actually goes to explain to the hot chick from Criminal Minds, and instead of just telling Rick to blow, she's like, figure out what you want and let me know.
And that's where I said she needs to find some dignity.
Rick must be a dynamo in bed.
Honestly, he must have a magical dick.
Something.
That is the only reason
Like,
you would put up with this. Oh, we
Yeah.
can hook up, but I really like no, fuck that shit. Unless he's literally giving you a dozen orgasms a night, guaranteed,
Yeah.
minimum. Don't put up with this shit.
No.
Nah, fuck that. And he better be making you breakfast the next morning.
Yeah.
And I'm talking like eggs Benedict, crisp bacon, fresh made Belgian waffles from scratch. Like none
Sounds
of
like a good
this.
breakfast.
Yeah, he's not putting some Eggos in the fucking toaster and then like scrambling some eggs. No, he's gonna poach those motherfuckers. It's the
Yeah.
only reason to put up with this shit. Ladies, know your worth.
Make me a breakfast like that. I'll sleep with Rick.
I'm sure you would.
Then we also get Majors hitting the slopes with Rick, which leads to the next this movie should have been rated R scene. Luke and Rick are going up the mountain, and this is not you need a little chairlift to get up the mountain. This mountain you need one of those big cable cars. The one hill they need a helicopter to get to, but they get to the top with the cable car, and Pigpen is supposed to open the door. He's sleeping, dreaming of being like a James Bond, and needs to parachute to the cable car, which is full of what? Hawaiian tropic models.
I thought they were cheerleaders.
Or were they cheerleaders? Okay.
Well, they were all wearing
yeah, they
identical
were.
outfits, and it looked very kind of Dallas cheerleaders, but like Vegas.
Yeah, it did.
You know?
And in the dream, once he lands on the cable car and gets in, Pigpen is like, okay, everyone take your tops off. And he's like, to tie them together so we could climb down.
Oh.
And they're like, oh, okay. They all become topless. We don't see any boobies. The director couldn't direct a local fucking cable town meeting, but he shoots and blocks the shit out of this scene so we don't see one areola, one nipple. Well done.
We saw lots of boobies,
Side
but no
boob.
nipples.
Look, no nipples. Well done, sir. That was some good blocking. Okay. Just looking ahead to Wikipedia. By this time, Lee Majors has dropped. Yeah, he's dropped the R word like 10 times at least to just the 1 months.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Okay, before we go back to the Wikipedia plot, now for PG-13, Inga tries her hardest to make her scene at the bar full of titillation, and titillating it was. Inga rides the mechanical bull. Great scene. No stunt double.
God bless.
Yeah.
I would never.
Victoria Slava, something Swedish, did it all her own. What a trooper.
I feel like that's how it's pronounced, but I could be wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds right. She had giant knockers.
Committed. She does have very large breasts.
Yeah. But yeah, she rode the bull, committed, big titted. That rhymed.
Committed, big titted.
It was a win-win. Okay, back. No, wait, another pretty funny scene. Hold on, where's my note? Pigpen is cleaning. This was good too. Pigpen is cleaning the main office. He gets on the computer because Stumpy, for some reason, asked Pigpen earlier if he ever goes on those lesbian chat sites, and then wonders if they're really lesbians for no reason. But Pigpen's in there, and for younger listeners, in 2001, There was no smartphone, let alone FaceTime. You went into a chat room and chatted, like you typed your questions and waited for
Yeah.
replies. You put your name, some info, but no one knew if you were telling the truth. Guy could be a girl could be a guy. It was a roll of the dice.
It's still true to this day.
So, yes. So Pigpen, do they still have chat rooms?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, but they look a lot better.
Oh, I hope so. Yeah, they're pretty.
Yeah,
Pretty,
it's not even really chat rooms. It's more like group chats.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay, yeah.
Like before you had like rooms and it was but now you can just like randomly, it's just a group chat. That's all
Right,
it is.
okay.
Yeah.
So Pigpen goes into the lesbian chat room, gives himself a female name, and finds another lesbian who wants to chat. Turns out the other lesbian is Eric, the creepy guy. And it just goes back and forth, their actual chat, which is more detailed on Eric's end because Pigpen is just really replying awesome to everything. And then it's just their face and they're getting more excited. When it ended with Eric sweating and let's just say finishing, and it panned back to show him bare ass naked on his chair. Oh, fuck, that was funny.
Can I tell you when they pan back towards the end and he is sweating and whatever, and
his ass is hanging out the chair.
His hand was underneath the desk.
Yeah.
And then he brought it up and he like leaned back. And I was like, is he gonna wash that hand? And then it shows from behind and he's wearing no pants.
No pants.
No pants, no underwear. He's just sitting there all bare bottomed on a desk chair.
It was funny. Yeah.
I was like, oh my. That's a bum.
What else? Wikipedia doesn't have this either. Inga tries to talk to Pigpen. Excuse me. But Pigpen can't really talk to her. Anthony comes up and steals Inga and walks her out the bar. Luke says, hold on, what do you say? Like, don't worry, bro, I got your back. That's why I'm gonna sleep with her. Luke gets on the roof, skis down the building screaming, I love you, Inga, wipes out. Inga rushes to him. Luke pretends to be hurt and asks Anthony to get him some ice. Anthony's like, we're in Alaska, you're fucking laying on ice. She yells at him. Luke and Inga go to Major's hot tub. They start fooling around. We get side boob. Big, beautiful Swedish side boob because she takes her top off.
She like leans up and there's
and they're kissing and whatnot.
Yeah.
And then Inga gets tired and goes to bed. Luke begs her to stay, but no. Then he remembers a conversation about sticking your wiener in the jets. He does. It seems to be enjoying himself. I don't remember if he hits the suck button on purpose or by accident.
No, he did it on purpose because he realized like the jets. He's like, I'm gonna start the draining because then it'll suck all the. And then that's what happens.
And it does not look pleasant.
No.
Morning comes. The hot chick from Criminal Minds comes walking by and is like, "Hey!" And then she noticed Luke is naked
in an empty hot tub.
And she's like, "Oh, you need help." In walks Stumpy.
Because you need help, and then she just walks away.
And then he's putting stuff on Luke's wiener, and he's talking about it's all physics, and he's like, okay, on 3, and makes like eye contact, and like he's like, and that sound effect of them actually pulling out was it sounded very painful.
Well, mind you, even the sound effect of when he like hit the drain button,
that was gross.
And you were just like, oh my god, that sounds like slurping. Okay, that's what we're doing now.
Very aggressive. Okay, I think we are now caught up to where Wikipedia is. Oh, Luke and Rick talk, and Rick decides to fight for Anna.
Yes.
Majors begins to make major changes. I just got that. Major changes to the town and mountains, such as changing the dive bar to an upscale club and removing the statue of Papa Muntz from the center of town. Major offers Rick a contract to be his new manager, and Rick agrees on the condition his friends all get to stay. His friends get kicked out of the new bar and decide to have a house party.
His friends? Oh, yeah, the 2 that snuck in.
Yeah.
Because initially they got rejected.
Yeah, and then they snuck in and then got kicked out. Yeah. They took the mechanical bull because they were throwing it out.
Yep.
And another prank. Luke falls asleep and Pigpen duct tapes him to the fucking bull.
Oh,
But Major secretly has Ted fire them behind his back. Rick finds out about the firing and his friends and quits his job and races to stop his friends from leaving. Okay. Before that, we get to meet Anna's fiance and find out that he was crippled in the X Games and is now bound to a wheelchair. When the fiance says he can't feel anything in his leg and Pigpen runs over and punches him as hard as he can.
He's like, what? He said he can't feel anything. Yeah. But also I wanted to point this out. The fiance was actually Barry was played by a skateboarder or a snowboarder.
Yeah.
Like he was an actual, like that was his profession.
Yes. Yes.
And I was like, oh, that's nice.
And we also got to see what's his name? Smash Mouth. He was in line for the lead singer Smash Mouth. He was in the line for the house party. He's the one that drank the bong water.
That's his face. I was
I was looking at him like
familiar.
I'm like, yeah, he looks really familiar. I'm like, is that Smash? My wife was like, yeah, that's Smash Mouth.
Okay, that makes sense. Because I was like, your face looks really familiar.
But also, one of the funniest parts was like the fiance is like, yeah, Anna told me all about you guys, which doesn't make sense. It's like she hadn't been hanging out with people that long. But anyways, and he's like, who's the Jacuzzi Casanova? And Stumpy shows up out of nowhere on a balcony yelling, that's him right there, pointing at Luke. They call him that because he had himself all up in the jacuzzi, loving it strong. I'm like, what the fuck? This guy's a fucking psycho.
I know, but that's what's great about
that. That's what's great. He just shows up and says this weird shit all the time.
He just keeps walking. Like that's he's just like, yeah.
And then he goes on with his day.
Walking. Yeah.
That's him right there. Who's loving it strong.
Well, no, when Barry's like, oh, she talks about you all. I figured it was because the trip to Mexico. She's probably like, oh, I met these great guys. She's not going to talk about how she was like canoodling with one of them, but she's going to be like, yeah, we hung out with them for the entire 3 weeks, me and my friends. Yeah. You know, and she's going to say stuff like we went parasailing and surfing. Not, I was fucking him every chance I got. She's not going to say that.
And it should be noted that in most or every ski comedy I've seen, there is always the douchey jocks like Dix and his buddies gunning for the hero. And this movie had them, but they were minions? At best props. Yeah. They weren't really used.
No. They weren't the main like adversary.
No.
There was no real
competition or
it was a lot of anyways.
But whenever they appeared and they always high-fived each other for whatever they were doing.
Yeah.
God, that was funny. Whatever they were doing, they high-fived.
Like, what are you doing? I'm keeping her in the car. Yeah, high five.
That's what I mean. It's almost a parody of the other ski movies, but
borderline parody.
Yeah.
Anyways, so they meet the fiance. Okay, so then there's the firings that start.
Yep.
So now we're coming to the part where I laughed the hardest. It was the drug test.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, in order to get them fired, they have random drug tests. Everyone goes into pee except, of course, Pigpen. To be in his defense, they did tell him just to go to the washroom.
Yeah, go to the washroom in this cup.
And he took a dump.
And he went to the washroom in the cup, and I laughed and I laughed
because it looked real.
It really did. It even had a little curve.
Yeah, it had a curve. Hats off to the prop department.
He just literally walks up.
Yeah, that's what he was supposed to do.
Like it was a pee cup. And he he's like, walks away. And they don't even notice until they go to pick up the cup. And they're like, oh my God. And I'm like, and I laughed so hard. It was the hardest I laughed in this entire movie. I laughed at the poop. I laughed at the poop.
Yeah, the lowest common denominator.
Yep. Laughed super hard at that. I laughed at other parts pretty hard, but not as hard as this. Poop was what took me over the edge.
Rick gives an inspirational speech about how the mountain is their home and not letting majors ruin the memory of Papa Muntz. They all grab their snowboards, head for the mountain. The group of friends and Inga then cause bedlam at the festivities and Major's outrage at Rick's betrayal. Rick frees Anna from her father and takes her to an airstrip where Barry, her fiance, waits in his plane. This was so stupid. He tells Anna what they had in Mexico was special, but he realized she belongs with Barry, and Rick watches Anna fly away. It should also be noted that Pigpen worked up the courage to talk to Inga and ask her if she wants to bang, and she's like, yes, this would make my stepdaddy very angry. And
Because he
when
literally, you think he's like gonna profess, like, get married,
love
be with
and
me forever. And he's like, I've been thinking about this and I want to do this. I want to tell you something that I've been wanting to tell you. I mean, that anybody who's met you and known you for 24 hours, it might seem a little crazy, but basically, do you want to bang?
yeah.
And she was like, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, let's do it.
And when Majors unveils the whatever he was supposed to unveil, the
Yeah.
thing, and Pigpen has her bent over. Fuck.
That was awesome. And then he just smiles. She waves.
Yeah.
She's like, hi.
And Majors is like, get your clothes out. You're just like your mother. Teddy decides he's no longer selling the mountain. Riss asks Jenny out again after revealing he no longer thinks of Anna. For those listening, Jenny is the super hot chick from Criminal Minds. And the basically they just ruined the investor meeting by they started way up, so it took for them a while to get down and actually do it. But
Yeah.
they
So they
just
went up to the top of the
snowboarding stuff.
mountain. They all pulled their pants down.
Yeah.
Because they were going to snow like the
Half-mast.
founder. And then they just started snowboarding down with their pants down, wearing their long johns. And I got to say, Luke's long johns were my favorite because the back flap over the butt says authorized personnel only. And I was like, amen to that, brother. Amen. But yeah, they snowboard down and they snowboard right into the middle of the investors meeting.
Yes.
And they start going around everybody through people. They're crashing into things. It's all lovely, chaotic, and funny.
All through this, Anthony is like, they cut back to Anthony at multiple times. He's like, okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to really do it this time. And he finally does.
He starts a countdown and he's like, okay, on 3.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. And then everybody takes off and you hear him. 4, 5,
Yeah.
6. I laughed at that.
Yeah. And then he finally does. He doesn't wipe out. He
made it.
He made it. Rick, they keep the mountain. Rick gets with Jenny, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah, and that is our movie.
But
So-
I just want to point out one little thing that drove me fucking bananas. So Rick obsesses about Anna, okay, for God knows how long. Hangs out with her and her fiance for like a night. And then he's like, all of my unresolved feelings are gone now.
Yeah.
Now I'm finally going to be the kind of man that Jenny should date. One that's not obsessed with someone I knew for 3 weeks at one point.
Yeah.
And then lost touch with, but it's fine. That drove me nuts. But everything else about this movie was just like
Stupid funny.
so stupid.
Yeah,
But there was a lot of
funny.
funny.
There was actually surprising. There was a lot of funny.
Surprisingly, there was a lot of funny, and I was not expecting that
No.
at all. Like not even a little bit. I was like, well, shit, y'all. You're going in there, and I love it.
So what is your score then?
Okay. The quality of this movie demands you do not pay for it.
Mhm.
However, the surprising laughs made me not mad that I paid for it because I paid $4.99 to rent it.
Yep.
I'm thankful I did not buy it because I'm like, while it's funny, this is not I need to watch that again kind of funny. So, I mean, if it was like super discounted, like 99-cent rental, I'm down. But other than that, stream it. If it pops up on a streaming service, guys, watch it and be aware, trigger warning. They do use slurs.
Yeah.
They really like calling the Inuit people Eskimos a lot.
Yep.
There's the R word. But I mean, if you can kind of realize, okay, this is 2001 and kind of put yourself in 2001, this movie is surprisingly funny. It is not a good movie.
No.
Like, it is not a quality movie at all. Don't expect incredible performances. Don't expect witty dialogue. Except for maybe from Stumpy. But it is It's surprisingly funny. I was shocked.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I actually agree.
Yeah, so
Um,
discount rental and definitely stream it. It was a good time.
yeah. My score, I said it before, horrible movie. Soundtrack great, nostalgic. Actors for what they had, I enjoyed. The script, save for a handful of actually funny parts, was shit. But I didn't turn it off. I mean, I couldn't for this, but I had no desire to turn it off. It was
Yeah.
familiar. I say Out Cold is a bad movie that is full of some very funny moments. Great snowboarding and a whole lot of nostalgia, but again, bad movie. This is
Yeah.
something that you would have watched at midnight back in the day, because all you had was cable, no streaming. Or this would have been like the third or fourth grab at the video store when you were grabbing your weekend lineup. You weren't completely disappointed, but only because you picked 2 or 3 movies that salvaged that weekend. It is what it is. I say I actually said the exact same thing. Rent it at a discount. Definitely, if you see it and remember liking it, if it pops up on a streaming service, go watch it. Yeah, don't just expect a bad movie with funny. There's a lot of
Yeah.
funny in this movie.
There is a lot of funny, and
Not
that
enough to
really
buy it.
Oh, fuck no.
And I'm not saying that I'm going to but down the road, if I see it pop up again for 99 cents or it's on a streaming service and I haven't seen
Yeah.
it in like 5 or 10 years, I probably will watch this again.
Yeah.
Just to
I would watch it again,
yeah.
100%.
Yeah. I don't think I'd pay for it, but yeah, if it popped up on Tubi
No.
or Netflix or something like that, yeah, I
Like,
would.
don't get me wrong, if it popped up for sale for 99 cents, sure.
Yeah.
I'd probably
Yeah.
pop for that because I'm like, whatever, $1.
Yeah.
But I'm not like I spent $4.99 on it. And I'm
I
not
would
mad about it.
No, I did the same thing. I had to rent it and yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not I thought I was gonna be very disappointed.
Yeah. Because sometimes you rent the movie and you're sitting there going, that's $5 I'm never getting back.
Yeah.
Like, it's gone. But this time I was like, actually, I'm not mad
No,
that
it
I
was
spent the $5.
No, it
I'm not
wasn't
thrilled, but I'm
No.
not mad.
I would have been happier if we streamed it,
Oh, 100%.
but it wasn't a
yeah.
disappointment. It's hard to explain because it is a bad movie.
It is, but it's not so bad that it's good.
No, but it's
But
very
it has a
familiar
lot
and
of
comforting.
Yeah, familiar and comforting. It has a lot of really funny moments in it.
Yes.
Um,
Stupid funny, not
yeah,
witty
no.
funny.
This movie is not clever.
No,
It is
not at
it is
all.
not clever at all. There are no like intricate witty jokes. It's not a play on words. None of that bullshit. This is straight like toilet humor. And
Yeah.
we're okay with that because
Yeah.
that's what it is. We accept that. It's not trying to portray itself as anything else. The dialogue is just ridiculous. The writing is ridiculous. But there are some really funny moments in here.
Yeah.
And the acting was pretty decent. Like, it was actually pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm not talking Oscar, but they all felt very natural on screen. They had great chemistry, like great presence. And I was like, this is a totally watchable movie.
Yeah.
And that's all I really wanted. I wanted something watchable, something that would entertain me. I was surprised by how often I laughed.
Yeah.
And I was surprised by how hard I laughed sometimes, where I was like, oh shit, that's actually really, really funny.
Yeah.
I didn't
Yeah.
laugh that way through
And
the
it
entire
wasn't just
thing, but
one. It was like I liked like the car scene, the poop in the cup.
the poop in the cup.
Anytime Stumpy showed up and just
Oh my god.
randomly said the dumbest shit.
There's
The hot
there are
tub.
so many moments where you laugh almost out of surprise.
Yeah.
Where you're like, oh my god. And then
Yeah.
you laugh and you're like, shit, that was funny. I did not see that coming. Which was great. And I actually really like it. Like, there's a lot that's just really there are a lot of funny moments, and there are enough funny moments that make this movie worth watching.
Yeah.
I don't know if it makes it worth watching many, many more times, but
Yeah, I don't think I'd watch it many more times. But like I said,
no, once or twice.
Yeah, I'll watch it again
Yeah.
down the road. Absolutely.
If it pops up on streaming, maybe I'll just find a bunch of winter comedy ensembles, have a marathon.
Yep. All right. So rent at a discount. Definitely stream it. Yeah. So thank you so much for joining us. If you're watching on YouTube, let us know below if you remember liking Out Cold. If you're listening to our podcast, thanks for watching. Until the next movie we remember liking.